Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Art House. Different kind of video today. I don't consider this channel to be a financial investment type channel per se, but I am interested in all things sorcery. And as a collector and an art enthusiast, the market for sorcery matters. So I'm interested in it. And I want to kind of cover that as another topic, right? So couple things I'm going to show on the desktop today. We'll look at some recent price sales. I'll provide some of my own comments for what it's worth, and also a few events of what's been going on around the game. We're in the first week of April here. Today is April 4th as I'm recording this, and it was just announced by the company that the product has shipped. And I speculated in my fourth pre-con deck reveal, which was the Avatar of Water pre-constructed deck, that I think there is a chance that Eric, the King of the Realm, may have shipped a few weeks ago and just didn't announce it yet. So, again, I have no inside information. I'm just saying that I think delivery by the end of April could be in play. There's a lot of uncertainty in logistics. So it certainly could be May as well. But I think the original notion that some people were floating around of July, August, or something like that is too pessimistic. And I think the fact that we're going to see beta in September kind of aligns to what they had said originally that they wanted to. Well, I guess they said they wanted to get beta out about 10 weeks after alpha, right? So if we see, let's just say we see alpha on May 1st, 10 weeks beyond that would put you in what? May, June, July, middle of August. It puts you at that September point, right? So I think maybe we'll see product by, let's call it late April to mid to late May timeframe. But I wouldn't rule out April just yet. We'll see. So a few things. I did an interview with Gadu Duasso. What you want to do is go to the Sorcery Contested Realm community page on Facebook. I know a lot of you guys are anti-Zuckerberg and refuse to use Facebook, so I'm going to show you some of the things you're missing if you don't join the Facebook group. So this group, it has about almost 1,500 members. It rounds up to 1,500. Maybe we'll have some kind of 1,500 celebration, but I think we're pretty close, like within 50 members of that mark, which is tremendous because I believe I started this group on February 7th of 2022. So it's been, about 14 months, just under 14 months, 1,500 members. That's really solid for a game that hasn't released yet. I was really surprised to see some of the other indie TCGs have a very small presence still, even after release. So I think that's pretty considerable. It shows a lot of interest from the community. It's super cool that we have almost all of the sorcery artists are in the group and they participate. Some of them even watch this channel, so I'm very flattered and honored that you guys do that. And we've had some great opportunities to do some live discussions with those artists, and I've done a lot of written Q&A articles on collectorarthouse.com, and that's what you see here from Gadu Duasso. All right, so going down, I ran a few polls here. This is the most recent. I want to go down a little bit. You can kind of get a flavor for what we have going on here. Today is Francesca Beraldi's birthday. Great Italian artist, so I was just wishing her happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Hope it was a good one. And all right, so yesterday we ran a poll, and it said, what are your collection goals for Alpha, right? And the options were a full master set, and what I consider to be a master set, there was some debate about this on Discord. At minimum, it is all of the foils and non-foils, obviously, that are in the Alpha booster packs. Now, there are a lot of promo cards, pledge pack cards. There's promos that you'll get through Team Covenant and Alpha Investments. Actually, no, I take that back. That's for beta only. So for Alpha, we have the booster box set. And then if you're looking at just boosters and those ancillary products, you could, I don't know, you may or may not include the promos. I think it's fair to consider a master set to be just what's in the booster boxes themselves. So it would be the foils and the non-foils. And then if you want to include the curios, technically that would be included in a master set. I think they're going to be extremely rare and hard to pull, so it's going to be hard to acquire a full master set via just straight pack opening, which you would expect in most TCGs anyway. I think Sorcery is a game where you'd have to open a tremendous amount of boxes to hit all the foils, so you're likely going to have to trade, barter, bargain on one of the marketplace groups to acquire that full master set. All right, so then you have the full non-foil set was your second option, a full non-foil play set, which means you have a full play set of every non-foil card. So for an ordinary, you can have 4 copies, exceptional 3 copies, elite 2 copies, and a unique 1 copy. So you would need to have that many of each of those rarity tiers for a full non-foil playset. And the last option, just enough to play / just wait for beta, right? Which means maybe you're just going to play with the pre-con decks. Maybe you're just going to open a very limited amount of alpha, like a box or something like that. Be happy with what you got, and then hold out for beta. And some people are doing that. Interestingly, let's look at the results here. So by a very wide margin, 43%. Actually, before I go to that, let me just say that there were 78 votes. So this isn't an enormous sample size, but it's a reasonable one. You know, it's a 1,500 member group, 78 votes. That's decent. And 43% of the 78 votes said that they're not going to really open a large quantity. They're just going to just enough to play with, which again, it could mean just the pre-con set decks. It could mean like a booster box. You probably have plenty to play with. And then they're just going to wait for beta. So, you know, if you project that, again, a limited sample size, there's a lot of, you know, it's not statistically relevant potentially, right? So you got to take it with a grain of salt. You can't just extrapolate to the 30,000 boxes and say that 43% are just not going to be open or is going to be hoarded on shelves. This isn't representative, obviously, of the full Kickstarter support. But it gives us some indication, better than any other data we have out there, right? So 43%, it tells you that there's a fairly large bias of people that just will not open. They'll either hoard them or they'll flip them onto the secondary market. We'll certainly see some of both of that. Secondly, a full non-foil set. So 24%, about a quarter of the people that voted say they're just going to go for the non-foil set. So, you know, if roughly half or just under don't even open their boxes, and another 25% are just targeting non-foils. I mean, the population of foils is going to be pretty rare as it is, especially for unique and elite categories. I think those will be very high-value cards, given their scarcity. And, of course, you got to have the demand to support that. But, of course, someone like me would think the demand's going to be there, right? As someone who's very bullish in the game. So I thought those were very interesting findings. Only 11% said they're going to go for the full master set. Right? And the full master, again, I mean, that's going to be very hard to get all the foils. Every single card in this 403 card set is going to have a foil variant. So that's a lot of foils. They're especially very rare at the elite and unique levels, but even at the lower rarities, you know, you'd have to open many boxes or go buy them individually on the market. So it's quite a bit. And yeah, to be honest, like when it came out, leading up to Kickstarter, Eric came out one day. Initially, he was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty old school. You know, foil isn't really my thing." I think he kind of wanted to be a purist to the early '90s when their, you know, Magic came out and they debuted. There was no foils, right? It was just all non-foil, and rarity prevailed. You know, cards that were rare to pull had value, and cards that were most powerful had the most value. So I think he was kind of partial to that mindset, but then he realized that with modern sensibilities, there's great demand and desire for foils and for a chase in the product, you know. So you have multiple chases in Sorcery. You have the multiple foil rarity tiers. You have the curio cards that we expect to be probably a pretty extreme rarity. So there's plenty to chase, which really helps with the investor collector type segment, and also just people in general feeling like their product is special and having something of value within the box, which is important to retain value and for folks to, even players, to trade those. And if they want to trade out of their foils to acquire all the non-foils they need for the non-foil set or the non-foil play set, you know, you have that ammunition to do so if your foil hits have value. So it's interesting. You know, Eric came out one day, kind of did a full 180 and said, like, the entire set's going to have foils. I was kind of demoralized as a completionist, saying, like, oh, man, this feels like a rich man's game now, you know? Like, how am I going to get all those foils, 403 foils? It makes for a monster set, right? Because you have 403 foils, you have 403 non-foils. So now a master set is over 800 cards, which is pretty insane. And then we don't even know how many curios there are. So, you know, it's a pretty substantial size set. You'd have to open quite a bit or buy, sell, trade your way into getting a full set of any kind. All right, so interesting findings there. And then I ran a poll today, and there was actually more votes on this one. So this is a pretty high interest topic. It said, how much of your alpha Kickstarter boxes do you plan to open? All right, so 104 votes The largest by far, again, 38% in this case, said they're going to open less than 25% of their alpha Kickstarter boxes. And again, we need to caveat and say that this is not representative of the full investment in alpha or full, Kickstarter backing. It's a small sample size. So there's some error in the data, but it is pretty interesting that of those that responded, which are your active interest segment, in this community group, otherwise why would you be in the group? Those folks have some vested interest, whether it be as a player, as an investor, or a collector, and less than 25% say they're going to open their alpha Kickstarter boxes. So that could be, again, some segment that's going to flip those boxes onto the secondary market, maybe to recoup their cost. Or to reinvest in buying singles for whatever their collection goals are, or play sets to play the game and have variety of decks and stuff, right? So that's pretty interesting. 38% there. Also interesting, on the other side of the spectrum, 26% said they're going to open almost all of it, 75 to 100%. All right, so there's some disparity there. It seems like it's one extreme or the other, and then kind of like a middling population here in the 25 to 75% category. So there's certainly some that will open some, not open some. Infer what you want from that, but it kind of tells me that there's a lot of secondary market interest in this game. A lot of people will be flipping it potentially, so that'll be interesting to see the price volatility after release, but also makes product available for people that missed on alpha. If there's we're going to go in a minute to see what the prices are on recent eBay sales, but, certainly with any debut, there's a lot of excitement and hype. Some FOMO, prices can get crazy and then they tend to settle back typically. So seeing that shake out in the early days after release, after we've all waited for over a year, is going to be very interesting. And everyone's going to be keenly watching that. People that want to buy on a dip and others that, just want to flip, recover their cost and, reinvest or play or whatever may have you, right? All right, so let's go to 130point.com sales, right? So if you haven't been to this site, if you go to eBay to sold listings, that data is flawed because they don't always show the actual sold price. So you really got to go to this site, 130point.com. And then if you do a search here for, let's just put in Sorcery Contested Realm, and we'll look at all sold items and just see what comes up. I didn't test this before I did it because I just kind of wanted to wing it and give you my genuine reaction, right? All right, so here you go. You got Alpha Booster Box pre-order. And those booster boxes, let's see, the first several hits are for Alpha. You got boxes selling for $399, $400. Here you go. So you have like a offer price at $399, but a best offer was accepted at $375. And then what do you got here? Sorcery Alpha box pre-order, $720. Okay, Canadian. Okay, so you see box prices around $400, guys. That's pretty wild. These were about $130 in the Kickstarter campaign. There were some early bird specials that I think were like $120, but that's a pretty nutty ROI, 3 to 4x what the cost at Kickstarter was. And again, these are pre-orders. There's always some risk in this. The buyer cannot pay. They can be canceled. The transaction cannot close. It's always a little dicey looking at pre-order data, but pretty wild pricing nevertheless. $300 to $400 pretty consistently here for the past several weeks. Scrolling down, let's see if there's any other products here. We see a lot of, okay, here you go. So we get into some sample cards. Now this is pretty interesting, right? Because we have several sample cards here. And you notice that you got Blizzard from Jeff Menges. I'll just read them to you. It's going to be a little small to see on the screen. The Blizzard is a Jeff Menges card. That is a ordinary rarity. You have the Deep Sea Mermaids from Elvira Shakarova. That's also an ordinary. Looks like you got Wall of Air. That is an ordinary. And you have Tony Sudlow's Unearth, right? So you have 4 ordinaries, and then I believe the Anui Undine was an exceptional. So you have ordinaries. These sold on March 18th. It looks like maybe it was one buyer. They all sold the same day. That's kind of interesting. $370. That's pretty high for an ordinary sample card. We saw that early on, in some of the auctions that I ran on the community group, Facebook group, and also the Collector Arthouse Discord. And I also have a listing on the Facebook Marketplace group for about 10 or 15 sample cards, $200 each. So significantly lower than the prices we seen sold here a few weeks back. But it could be, these are popular artists. You got Jeff, you got Elvira. Those are big time artists. Tony Sulo. So those are popular cards, popular artists. Yeah, the Exceptional by Tony Sulo, that sold for $480 on March 18th. So those are pretty significant sample card sales. And again, you get a bunch of booster boxes, and it's starting to get, I don't want to look back like 3 to 4 weeks, because the sentiment around the game is kind of changing fairly quickly. There's ebbs and flows, right? Sometimes people get a little bored. Then there's an announcement. There's a lot of excitement. And now we got a shipping announcement, so it feels real. The product is fully printed, packaged, on boats, coming across the ocean, maybe sitting on docks. Who the hell knows? We're all anxiously awaiting, and it could be out anytime now. So phenomenal sales, a lot of value in this game. It's really interesting to see. Again, you got a caveat that these are pre-sales. But guys, yeah, if you're not on Facebook, if you're not in the community group, please go join Sorcery Contested Realm community Facebook group and join the Collector Arthouse Discord. I always link those. I have a Linktree link that links all of my social media platforms. I have about 5 different Sorcery groups. My YouTube channel is entirely dedicated to Sorcery. My Discord is entirely dedicated to Sorcery. Everything is all Sorcery all the time. So it's a great community, a lot of fun, a lot of people chiming in here, as you can see, posting different things. I post every single day. If you're not on Facebook, I just want to kind of give you a flavor for what you're missing out on. I try to post in my Discord too, so if you want to join Discord and not Facebook, that's cool. I've had some guys say that they use their wife's account or they create a dummy account just so they can access the information, which, thank you guys, that's pretty cool. I'm glad you're involved and that interested. So this is an awesome painting that Gadu Duaso did that I featured in my interview. Yeah, all types of cool discussion videos. A few people have posted YouTube videos covering Sorcery content. Some interesting game history here, as you can see. It's every single day, like I say. Some birthdays from the artists. All the artists are in here. Sometimes they chime in and they vote on the polls. It's really cool to see their names pop up. So we're all having a great time. It's all action. If you're into Sorcery, you'll never get bored. There's never a shortage of content and things to cover. I try to create videos when I can, but I'm posting here every day. I'm on the Discord every day. And so are a lot of other people. So, us purists and big-time fanboys and fangirls, we can't get enough Sorcery. So it's cool to see a lot of new channels popping up. A lot of people are saying they're going to be opening boxes on stream. I'm definitely going to be doing that. Maybe even weekly. I'm going to try to keep it up and keep the momentum going. I'm hoping to have a big reveal live event with a box opening on this channel, Collector Arthouse. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications on the channel. I post a lot of short videos showing box openings or pack openings and talking about the game. But this live event for the big booster box opening, once I have a booster box, is going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be reaching out to some special guests, hopefully, to make that a special, unique, memorable, once-in-a-lifetime experience. So thank you guys again. Appreciate your interest. Please join the groups. Join the discussion. It's a lot of fun. And hopefully you see your products on your doorstep soon, all right? There'll be a lot more to talk about, a lot more stuff to show off and be excited about, and start playing the game in person. All right, take care, everybody. Until next time, talk to you soon.